Hello, welcome to Stephen Speak, episode number 3 of series 3. It seems to be flying. I don't kind of understand how we've got to episode 3 already, but here we are. Today's episode is going to be about a subject that I have been fascinated with for years, and just watching TV programs over the years. There used to be a program on the BBC children's programs when I was a kid in regard to this, and it's world records and the types of records that people do and the craziness around that. Because there are some really strange ones. I mean, we'll get into it, but you can probably think of some ones that you think, well, kind of normal. There's a load that are very, 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 very peculiar. So that's what we're going to speak about today. So hope you enjoy. Welcome to Stephen Speak the podcast. Unscripted prattle on everything and nothing. Hello, thank you very much for joining me today. So basically, world records, they're a thing. They exist. People take part in them, and create them, I suppose, out of nowhere. It's a bit of a strange thing. Like when I was a kid, there used to be a program on TV called Record Breakers, and it used to be a really, really good program. I used to love it. And it was one of them things that you kind of don't. Well, for me anyway, I don't think I really any cognizance of it when I was a kid of like where these records came from, like where they existed from, like where they originated from. So like some of them were like human ones, so like the tallest person, etc. But some of them were like kind of bizarre. And I don't think as a child, like I really kind of thought about it greatly. But the reason that this subject came up was I was just thinking that I was actually mindlessly scrolling through Instagram actually on Instagram stories, and I follow Guinness World Records, and they posted someone breaking a world record. And I can't find the video again. I don't know if it was a story that disappeared or something, but I'm not sure whether it was real. But I couldn't find it again. Whether it was part of a longer video, but basically the world record was the most Coke cans crushed in 30 seconds while holding an egg, and obviously not breaking the egg. So like an egg fresh from the chicken, or supermarket, I suppose. It hasn't been hard boiled. So this guy was literally, it looked like it was in India or Pakistan or something. And there was like a load of tables lined out with just rows and rows and rows of unopened Coca-Cola, like the official brand. Whether that's part of the Guinness World Record, I don't know. I suppose you have to use the same brand. I don't know. But yeah, there was just rows and rows and rows, just like a long line of Coke cans, basically. And he was just using his fist. He had the egg in one hand. Was he using his egg hand to break them? I don't even know. I can't remember now, but it's bonkers. Like, who comes up with that? Like literally, like, who wakes up one day and goes, I'm going to break the record for smashing Coke cans with my fist while holding an egg and not breaking it? Like, it's just absolutely bonkers. So it got me thinking, and I've been looking at a couple of websites. So I've actually kind of done research for this a little bit today. I've just been looking around, and there's loads of websites that show you, apart from obviously the official Guinness site, but it's that show you like weird and wonderful record attempts. But there's some like normalish ones that I think you probably think, well, I kind of understand where they've come from. So, like for example, the highest mountain in the world. There's Mount Everest. Controversial because I think some people claim it's not really technically the highest mountain because of where it starts and where it finishes and baseline and all that. I don't know. Anyway, it says Mount Everest on here at 8,848 meters. Okay, so there you go. So we've got Mount Everest as the highest mountain. Largest spider. So these are kind of all natural things. And it says it was found in Venezuela 1965. And it's the male Goliath bird-eating spider. You've probably seen these on TV. And they're bloody massive. They're like a large dinner plate across, like 11 inches. And I believe there's been some spotted that apparently have been seen that are bigger. But yeah, um, pretty impressive. And for those of you that don't know inches, 11 inches, no, don't know inches in metric. 11 inches is about the size of one of them rulers you had in school. So the long 30 centimeter rulers. 11 inches is about 28, 29 centimeters. So I mean that's a big ass spider, isn't it? I remember someone at school when I was in primary school actually had a pet one of these. I believe you have to have a special license, and he brought in one day when they shed the skin. He actually brought in like the skin, and it looks like a real spider until it starts to like fade and stuff. And it was absolutely petrifying how big it was, to be honest. Even though it was just its skin, I would not touch it. Call me a wuss, I don't care. It was disgusting, if I'm honest with you. Okay, so like most football goals scored in a career, um, is Pele. So he scored like 1,000 goals, I think, in his career. So something like that. So these are kind of normal ones. So like the shortest woman is from India, and she's only 62.8 centimeters tall, which is tiny. And she looks lovely. She looks like a happy little lady. And why wouldn't she be? Um, this one's a little bit more strange, but it's still kind of natural. The widest mouth. Um, Guy had his mouth measured and had the widest mouth. It doesn't actually say how big it is, so I couldn't actually get a measurement for it. So I don't know if this is something that is willing to be challenged, or is had the measurements taken off. Then you got the tallest man ever recorded from the United States, Robert Wadlow, 272 centimeters. So that's like 8'11", which is really tall. I mean that puts like basketball players to shame. There's a picture of him on this information is from the Guinness site. There's a picture of him next to what looks like a little girl, but it's actually a full grown woman, and he's literally over double her height. It's crazy, crazy. And I believe he died young because of complications from being so tall. Um, because I don't think the body's really made to sustain that sort of size. But it says here he had to eat 8,000 calories a day to sustain his body, which is crazy. Um, yeah, said by the age of 9 he was 5'11". It's just it's just crazy. Yeah, so they're kind of like the normal ones. You know, and then you've got some that are like a little bit more out there, but still you can see where they're coming from. Like, so the car with the longest mileage on it, so car that's covered the most mileage, that's like officially recorded by Guinness, is an old Volvo from in 1966, and it's technically done 3,039,122 miles as of May 2014. So God knows how many it's covered now. Maybe it was retired. I'm not sure. Personally, I can't be asked to read the rest of this. So go and have a look on the Guinness website and see for yourself. And then you've got ones like the largest liger, at like nearly 3.5 meters long and stuff like that, which is a lion crossed with a tigress. Yeah, so like, I think they're kind of normal. Like you can think to yourself, like, I wonder what the biggest one of them is. I wonder what the shortest one of them is. And you kind of think, well, there's obviously going to be a record for a measurement or mass or something like that. But then you start getting into like the stranger ones. So a couple of ones that I found just by quickly googling was the longest time been a basketball on the end of a toothbrush while it's in your mouth, and apparently the time is 8.15 seconds. It was held by Sandeep Halata in Canada in 2019. Now, eight point something seconds doesn't sound like that long to me. I suppose it's more difficult when it's on the end of a toothbrush. But again, it's like, do you have to specify the toothbrush? Does it have to be a certain type of toothbrush? I'm guessing everything has to be. It's like scientific, so like everything would have to be exactly the same type of ball, the same type of toothbrush, and the way you hold it in your mouth and everything like that. It's just that's what's getting me with this is like, who suddenly creates this? Then that's the baseline for all followers. So whoever does it first maybe has an advantage because they choose the parameters of it. But then I suppose you've got we'll just practice smashing Coke cans while holding an egg. How expensive must that be, though? Like, I mean, I suppose in India and stuff, like, Coke's probably a little bit cheaper than here, but still, like, the economy is different, so insane. I need to find out how many Coke cans he managed to smash, because it was loads. That video, if you go on, you can go on the Guinness website or something. I'm sure it's there. Yeah, it was a bit crazy. And then the most people dressed as Einstein in one place, 541. Apparently, this was like a few schools in Australia. All the school students got together and dressed as Einstein, and it broke a world record. Um, Blowing a garden pea as far as you can with your breath. I mean, what the hell? Like, firstly, what's that doing for the world? I know being the tallest person doesn't really help anyone, but it's like a natural event. Why? I don't understand why blowing a garden. I suppose it is an achievement. I don't want to like take away from people, but it's just like, why? I just don't get it. I just don't get it. It's quite amazing. This guy from Germany, Andre Ortov, managed to blow a garden pea 24 feet, 7.66 inches, which is quite a feat, I would say. And that's quite far. The only thing that I don't understand about that measurement as well is why it's so accurate. 7.66 inches. Like, because if anyone, I suppose it's because it's a small pea. But then again, do they have to use the exact same pea, the exact same weight? Do they have to use the same conditions? It blows my mind a little bit. But there are some like more kind of like disgusting elements to them. But before I get into that, I just want to say that I always wanted a Guinness World Record book when I was a kid. It was one of them things. I think they still produce them. Maybe not as popular as they were when I was a kid, but it was used to be a thing that they used to produce a new Guinness World Record book every year, and they were always like super shiny and really, really attractive. And I always wanted one, and I never got one. If I'm honest with you, I never received one. And I can hear the violins playing, and I was a little bit sad about that. If I'm honest with you, because I never managed to read all these strange and wonderful records. I know you can Google them all now, and you get various websites that probably just list them. But yeah, I think it intrigued me that who. For me, I think it was more like the normal kind of ones. I don't know if I'm boring or not, but knowing who the tallest person was, or the shortest person, or the furthest distance someone's been able to run. So a lot of the human ones I was kind of interested in, but the out there ones, I don't know. It comes back to why, I think, for me, is what is the motivation about being able to blow a pea so far, being able to crush all these Coke cans while holding an egg. It's just bizarre. I suppose it's what people are into. But I was just looking at this other website, and it's called the Facts site. How factual it is, I don't know. You'll have to decide for yourself. But it lists some of the most unusual world records. So examples, there's a guy that can apparently fit 100 lit candles in his mouth, called David Rush. Well done, David. The longest fingernail of all time was well over 6 feet long, and I believe the guys had these cut off now. I'm pretty sure I saw a video of them being cut off. Oh yeah, it just says if you want to see the nail that's displayed on Ripley's Believe It or Not in Times Square. I remember seeing they used like a Dremel multi-tool to get them off. It was disgusting because they're like really thick. It's absolutely insane. A cat that can balance 10 dice on its toe. I didn't understand that cats could actually be in the Guinness World Record books. But this one says that this cat could balance 10 dice on its feet. Really weird. Oh my god, I'll just scroll to the next one. That's disgusting. The furthest distance to squirt milk from an eye socket. Like, firstly, that picture's horrendous. If you go onto this website, discretion be advised. I don't understand. Firstly, how do you get milk into your eye socket? Like, I've got a thing with eyes. I hate anything going in my eyes. It makes me feel like if I'm holding a knife, sometimes I'll be like, oh my god, I hope that knife doesn't suddenly go in my eye. I know that sounds really weird, but that's how I am. It's a bit of an odd one. Yeah, but he's literally squirting milk from his eye. Is it coming from his tear duct? I don't I don't know. It's 9 feet 2 inches, which is quite impressive. Um, he became a champion in Istanbul in Turkey. Um, Yilmaz, his name was. Well, well done, Yilmaz. But please don't do it around me because it's pretty grim. I've seen this guy before. This one here is Gary Turner, who's got the world's stretchiest skin, and he can literally stretch his skin, like like inches away from his body. It's really bizarre. But it's stuff like this, like this one, like this one right here, like the world's largest pizza ever constructed. Like they're the ones that I was interested in when I was a kid, because I think what for me is like, something's got to be a benefit from it, or it's got to be factual, and it's got to be like, oh, that's kind of a cool fact. Because like you make a massive pizza, everyone can eat it afterwards, so you can feed loads of people. So fair enough, you go to this effort and you've created something massive and a bit silly, but at least it's kind of useful afterwards. Like a guy crushing, I'm going to come back to it again. A guy crushing Coke cans is just a waste of all that Coke, really, for me, and it achieves nothing. Whereas this, like, fair enough, you kind of achieving something. When it says here, the world's largest pizza had an area of 13,580 80.28 square feet. It's annoying me that it's all in feet because I'm obviously metric generation. Oh, it's the woman that can pop her eyeballs out. That's disgusting as well. There, she can like protrude her eyeballs out of her head by the longest distance. I'm not even going back to read it because I can't be seeing that picture again. But you see what I mean? There's lots of unusual ones, and I just wonder how you go about contacting Guinness and to say that I've been practicing this feat. Would you come and record it as a world record? Like, is there some things that are a no go? Like, I don't know. Like, I can't even think of anything. Maybe sexual things would be a no go. Like, I don't know how many people you can have sex with in an hour or something like that. Maybe that would be something that it would be too taboo for Guinness to actually record. I have been involved in a world record. I didn't actually do it myself. I was involved in the attempt of a world record, and I do know that you have to pay Guinness to come and record it. So to send like an official person out to actually physically record it, it's quite a lot of money actually. It was a few grand, I believe, because they have to come and adjudicate it, and you've got to basically pay the person to attend and the adjudication. Sometimes you have to hire a special equipment, so they might say, well, this measurement has to be measured by this special equipment, so you need one of them for us to use when we get there, or you'll have to pay us if we're going to bring ours and stuff like that. It was very strange. I don't know the full ins and outs of it, so don't take my word as truth. But yeah, it was very bizarre. But something I am learning right now is that animals are apparently in the Guinness World Records. Like for animals doing stuff, it says here. I mean, I don't know if this is a Guinness World Record because it's on this different website, but it says a parrot that can open 35 canned drinks in 1 minute. I don't think I can do that, and that's a macaw called Zach. I know it does say Zach broke the Guinness World Record, so there must have been one already in existence, which is mind-boggling, really. There's loads on this website. It's if I remember, I'll put the link in the episode description so you can go and have a quick browse. But say some of the pictures aren't too clever if you're a semi-squeamish nature, especially about eyes like I am. Yeah, I just don't. But I think for me, it's just that I don't understand where people come up with these things, and I hate wasting stuff really. So like smashing a load of Coke cans for me just seems bizarre. Um, but I mean, there's one here like a guy having the most bees on you at one time. Like, why? Why? I love bees. I love a beehive. But beehive and take them bees off you. Whey! Hashtag dad jokes. Hashtag that's a dad error, isn't it? I'm not even a dad yet, so. Anyway, that's my little rambling about Guinness World Records. I suppose I'd still like to hold one at some point, but I'd want it to be of some substance, though. Wouldn't want it to be blowing a pea across the ground the longest distance. I think that's kind of. I want to take away from the person that's done it, but it's kind of pointless. I'd want to be in there for like the most gold medals won at such and such, or like some sort of an achievement. Really, I don't know. I think some of it is just it's fun though, isn't it? I suppose it's fun. I'm not gonna belittle it and be a party pooper. It's all fun at the end of the day, isn't it? So good luck to them. Good luck to them. But I just saw that this week and just thought I'm gonna have to talk about that because smashing Coke cans while holding an egg is just such a weird concept to me. And I'm gonna leave it there because my brain can't cope with it. It's turned into slop. It's not good this week as it is. So thank you very much for listening. Please give feedback. I had some feedback this week from a couple of people, some comments and stuff on Spotify, which is brilliant. I love it. Keep it coming. Just interact with me. It's lonely sitting in front of this microphone, and I need to know what you like. I need to kind of know a little bit of information to try and plan a little bit. So please help. Go to stevenspeak.com if you want to get in contact with me, or at stevenspeakpc through social medias. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and I'll speak to you soon. You've been listening to Steven Speak the podcast. Thanks for listening to my unscripted prattle on everything and nothing. Visit stevenspeak.com for updates, information, and my blog. You can follow more updates on social media at stevenspeakpc. Thanks very much, and I'll speak to you soon.